Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us on The Best of Both Worlds. Today, I have a very special guest, and her name is Paula Everill. She is from Riverton, Utah, which is near Salt Lake City. And she's kind of my Statler buddy because we're only a few hours away.
Yes.
And she's going to really be able to show us a lot of wonderful things on the Statler. And we're doing a project today that is a calendar quilt. To begin with, let's talk about Paula just a little bit more. Like, how long have you been doing your Statler?
I've had my Statler about 5 years.
Okay.
And I got my second one, the first this year.
So you have two and you keep them running?
I keep them running. They run day and night.
So you are a Statler girl for sure.
I am a Statler girl.
That is totally awesome. And so do you do like overalls on one and then
Yes.
you custom on the other?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I bought the second Statler, because custom takes so much longer that I just couldn't keep up with the edge to edges while I had custom on my other machine. But you know, as quilters, we love to do custom. It's kind of our love.
Yeah, it is. And especially with these machines.
Yes.
We can do everything.
Yes.
But those edge to edges, awesome. And you work with
Yes.
the quilt shop, so I'm sure you're
I do.
totally busy. So that's awesome. Well, we're going to get started on this project. And the first thing we're going to do is finish stitching in the ditch. And we're going to show you two ways to do that, freehand and Statler.
Statler.
So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is toggle over to my regulated, just right there, and push mode and select. And so I am in 18 stitches to the inch, which is what I really like to be in for stitching in the ditch and applique, around applique. And I'll just take a couple of little stitches, just place my ruler right there, and then I can just stitch in the ditch across here. And you could use your ruler to go across this way, but awesome, it's really awesome just to go without even a ruler. And your machine just sort of tracks that way. Now, I also dropped the belts, so we don't have belts on here. And I'm in the plus mode, which I think you'll probably explain maybe a little bit better, Paula.
Okay.
What mode I'm in. And I'm just going to do a little bit of this. Just so you can see, my hand is so nice and flat as I'm stitching in the ditch. And as I do these diagonals, I can just go like this. Because I'm using a light color thread, if I'm going to err in the stitch in the ditch, I always think err to the light side, not to the dark. And then I'm going to let you do some freehand here and finish stitching in the ditch there.
You look so comfortable doing this.
You're doing great.
Air to the right. I'm not doing too great there.
You're doing fine. It looks good. And then across. Very good. And when you stop in the corner like this, then you want to take a few stitches down where you've already stitched in the ditch like that. Stop. There you go. And then bring up your thread. Now, Paula's going to show us how you can do that using your Statler.
Once you're done with stitching in the ditch and you've got your thread cut, you don't want to chase a bunch of times over to the computer to change, to get out of this mode. So all you have to do is push shift and exit. And it actually changes this so that it will get out of regulated mode. So what we're doing right now is we are going to use our point-to-point pattern to stitch in the ditch. So in your Statler Stitcher patterns, there's a geometric line. And we are going to use point-to-point pattern. So this is your point-to-point icon. And when you drop this little arrow down, you've got pattern and line. And we have selected pattern. So what we're going to do is our geometric line is selected. And we're going to just go ahead and we're going to mode over to our point-to-point icon. I'm going to roll my needle down so I know exactly where my ditch is, and I'm going to start clicking my points. And if this border's crooked, I'm going to click crooked. And you can go as far as it is straight, or you need to go as short as it is not straight. We're going to just keep clicking until we get to where we want to stop. And we're going to just go over to this corner. We want to click right in the corner, and then we're going to come up the side. And there's one more little trick when you stitch in the ditch, because sometimes you don't hit that corner with one stitch, so it actually, and we're going to go ahead and push stop, which is the middle bottom button, and then I'm going to go shift and exit to get out of it. And now we're ready to quilt, except for one thing. I like to go in and turn on my stitch in points on the computer. I'm going to go over to the tools icon at the top of the screen, and I'm going to click on it, and it drops down this menu, and we're going to turn stitch in points on. And if you just click on it, it turns it on. And the reason why I'm turning them on is because when we're stitching the ditch, if you've got a corner, you want to hit that corner exactly. And what happens is when you turn that on, it actually takes a stitch when it finds a corner. And I don't necessarily like it on when I'm doing patterns, because the designers usually put those stitches in the corners where they want them. And we don't need an extra stitch in those corners when we're doing patterns. But when we're stitching in the ditch, we don't want it to round the corner off, we want to hit the corner. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to use my mode key, because I don't want to chase back and forth to the computer to make extra steps for myself. I'm going to just mode over to the quilting button, which is the third button over, and I'm going to select it. And at this point, the machine's going to go back to where it wants to start quilting, where we started our point-to-point. Okay, we're going to pull up our bobbin thread, and we're going to just go ahead and say OK, so that it can start quilting. And you know, as it comes along, you just want to make sure that it stays in the ditch, because stitching in the ditch belongs in the ditch. So we're just going to follow it along and just make sure that it's staying right in that ditch. It's coming to that corner, and when we must have hit that okay, because it didn't take that extra stitch.
That was awesome, Paula. I think both ways work really well.
I think so too.
Yeah, so whatever you're comfortable
Yes.
with, but I think we should try everything.
Yes.
That's what we want to do, is learn everything the machine will
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Okay, now that we've finished our stitch in the ditch, let's show how to go around the embroidery.
Okay.
It's
That's
like going around the
freehand.
applique. I know, and we're going to do a freehand feather around there. You can help.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. We have to go around the applique, or in this case it's embroidery, it's not applique. And so I'm in 18 stitches to the inch, and I put my applique helper here. This is going to really help me keep my hand flat so I'm not holding on. You don't want to hold on to anything like that. It's very uncomfortable for your hand, and you'll go to bed that night with your hand aching. But you see, I want to stay right next to the embroidery. Now, if this was a real big embroidery, I might even need to go through the embroidery, and in that case, I might even change the color somewhere to tap it down, because otherwise it just sticks right out. And you see, I'm going to have to go around every little piece of this embroidery, all of these little lilies of the valley. I love lilies of the valley. Well, at least I used to, but now we have to go around them. And you know what, Paula?
What?
I'm going to stop here. Yes, I am. Well, I'm almost going to stop, because I'm going around this embroidery on the embroidery. Okay?
You keep going.
I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to let you practice that a little bit.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm taking my brave hat off, and
Brave hat
or my
off.
brave hat on, or something.
Yeah. And while she's doing this, oh, she's putting on her glasses.
Yes,
okay.
we better be able to see. That's a good thing.
While she's doing this, notice her left hand is nice and relaxed and flat. But you are letting your left hand do the guiding, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
You might have to remind yourself of that several times during this process because your right hand is going to want to take over. And of course, if you're left-handed, maybe your left hand will be or your right hand will be down on the tool, and you could switch hands if you wanted to. But I think the left hand is really learning how to go around that embroidery. And we want to know how to do that right. You want to stitch right next to it without going on it.
And sometimes we have to see where we are.
This tool is 3/8 of an inch thick. So it completely hooks your foot. Your foot cannot get out of it unless it's lifted off. So it's a pretty handy little tool. And we just go around every bit of that. And then that green leaf, you'll have to come up.
Well, maybe I'll go around the outside.
Go around the outside. There you go.
That will be better.
Pretty fun. This is where I also like to just pull up my chair and I sit down. I love sitting down when I'm quilting. And the drafting chair that Gammill sells is the best chair that I have found. It has the 5 legs on it, and it goes up high, comes down low. And I really like the back on it because sometimes I just like to lean back and relax my spine. There we go. And then I think we have done it.
We are home.
Yay. Okay, now we want to put something around this. And, I think we'll just do a freehand design in here. Let's do a feather. And Paula has come to my retreats and taken some of those freehand classes. So I'll do 1/2 of this and then you can finish it. How's that?
Sounds great.
Now I'm going to go into constant. That going to scare you?
Maybe a little, but it will be okay. We've got our brave hat on.
Okay, our brave hat
Us
is on.
Statler girls
I'm in
have
constant,
to get brave.
and I'm going to be turning it up to about 80 for me. Or
Okay.
maybe we'll do 75. It's on 70 right now, but and I have to turn it while it's going.
Yes,
Here, I'm
you
gonna
do.
Come over here. There we go. Coming back. And I will stay away from the writing over here, so I'll just stay away from it a little bit. Into the corner, make sure I place one into the corner and come back. I think one of the things that happens with Statler owners is that everything is so perfect that they don't allow themselves the idea that they can do some freehand and maybe the feathers aren't exactly all the same, but it's beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful.
You make this look so easy.
Well, I've practiced a lot, and that's
Yes.
the whole key, Paula, and you know that.
Yep.
It's all practice and just kind of getting over that fear a little bit too.
Well, you've been teaching me to get over my fear.
I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to take a feather right over there like that to fill in that space. And then I'll come back here. And I don't always do the same feather. Since I know more than one, I know the long arm feather and the stacked feather, I can just put whatever feather feels good in there. Then I'll come back over here and I'm going to end right there and I'm going to let you do the other side. Come on, you can do it.
Okay, here we go. Oh dear.
She comes around and backtracks. Now she's in constant. How's that feel?
It's nice, it's smooth.
It's very smooth. If you haven't tried constant yet, whether you're a hand driver or you're a Statler owner, you really want to go into constant and practice and try some things because it's just such a wonderful freedom that you will feel. Okay, now you want to come up at this point, come over here and then around with a little curl right there.
Yep. Okay,
she
here
goes.
we go. I think I missed a curve.
That's all right.
It's okay, we can make it up.
We can make it up. Now, another thing that you can do is, of course, take your chalk pencil and just kind of mark those main lines on there. Because sometimes when we're thinking about doing something and trying to do the feathers at the same time, that's a lot. It is, and I totally understand that. So, but you're doing great, Paula. Those are really pretty. You just go right back down and your outside feathers. And this is really hard for, Paula's a Statler girl, she already told us that. So for her to do this and be on camera is amazing, and I'm proud of you.
Well, this is the best of both worlds.
It
and
is.
It's important to learn all sides of it. And as you play with this, we do learn that.
It's hard to talk and quilt, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'm trying to concentrate.
Awesome. That was really fun, Paula, doing the stitch in the ditch both ways. And we got the quilt stabilized. And we also went around the applique.
Yes.
And you
freehand.
were very good at that. Yes. And did the little freehand feather.
Yes.
So now we're ready to do the borders and corners. So don't miss us next time, because we're going to show you borders and corners. And you're not going to go away, right?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm right here.
All right.
It's
We're going to
so
do them
much
with the
fun.
Statler. So we're
Yep.
very excited about that. See you next time. For products, patterns, and retreats, visit lindavtaylor.com.